I'm moving away from that, talking about makeup of TINUBU'S cabinet. Should it be more of technocrats or politicians? And joining me this morning is Ben Agoloye, a public affairs analyst, and Okoyemi Rahim, a policy analyst. It's a wonderful time to have you this morning.
Good morning.
Let's hit the ground running, because we are looking at while we are waiting for the unveiling of the cabinet, the makeup of the TINUBU'S cabinet. A lot of people have been talking in line with, in putting into consideration what is currently happening in the country. The economy being very high, inflation being high. A lot of people will definitely be looking at the kind of people that demands a particular office. Really areas where you think you need more of technocrats than politicians. And let me say, what do you make of this? What are the areas you think we should have technocrats than politicians?
Well, for me, what is more important will be defining the PI for the job. The minister is not the one who will go to the field to do the job. And so therefore, whether you call him technocrat or politician, I think it is less important. The more important thing is you're looking at people who are competent, who have the capacity and the ability to follow through. Now, there are people you will call technocrats who possibly are tactical people. You need them for 30 days. You need them for 90 days. If you give such people a 4 years job, the chances are that after 90 days, they will run out of steam. So for me, it is defining the KPI, and then a radical departure from the past should be that you have your job spelled out, you are not able to deliver, there should be consequence. You should not continue to be on that seat. A team, the ministerial team should be like a football team, in which case there is opportunity for substitution. And the good thing about the ministerial cabinet is, like, in fact, unlike the football match, where the number of substitutes are limited. Here it is not. We've seen a coach who believe that, look, this guy has the competence. I think a coach once described one of our players. He said his entire understanding of the game is too much for his energy. And so he was playing him for only 15 minutes. But in 15 minutes, the guy was delivering what? Result. If you have kept him for 90 minutes, it would have been useless for about 60 or 70 minutes. So it is to look at what do you want them to do, who has the capability to deliver it, and if they don't deliver on the KPI, you must be ready to show them the way out. So it is not technical about being a technocrat or a politician.
Okay,
it's about
I don't
competence.
know, okay, I mean, whether you agree with him in that area, because I totally disagree with him. What's your take on this?
So I think I totally disagree also, because at this point in our history as a nation, it will be sensitive, uncalculative to actually be over-politicize at this point. And there is a way we can actually draw a balance between the two, where we have politicians that are also technocrats. I'm aware that within the ruling party and even across different political parties that we have people with capacity that can actually get the work done. And it's something about capacity. There is no way we talk about capacity, I will not be talking about the techno. Like work in our security now, you cannot go and look for a farmer and say you should come and head the security sector. An economy at this point of view, at the brim of collapse, we need somebody with competence, capacity, and the energy to follow through with policies and programs and interventions to actually keep the economy running. That's number one. Number two is also the image of the government. Yeah. Because you agree with me that over the years, government has been quick to respond and defend certain action and inactions. Yeah. It's not supposed to be like it. There should be strategic to some of those things. People with understanding of the craft of information and communication to actually sectors. And also, when we're talking about technocracy, maybe being political at some point, we also need to be inclusive in doing all that. We have a lot of resources in this country, manpower, a lot of resources. Look at our women, look at our young persons excelling in other climes. I mean, leaving the shore of the country, you see them excelling in other climes. They show competence and capacity over the time. So the government, the incoming government, should actually consider how it can balance all these things that we mentioned: inclusivity of the government, the capacity of people that will be coming on board to work with the president and other office holders, and also considering the interest too with the capacity is actually very important.
Okay, one major area that is a great area for me is the NNPC. And we had Timmy Presiva, who happens to be a core politician, man that plays under the last administration President Muhammad Buhari. Still, our refineries are not working. A lot of people would have thought if they are brought in a technocrat in that perspective, because the federal government has been spending so much money on trying to fix all these refineries. Some came up with a decision: why don't you do a PPP, a public-private partnership, to work on all these things and hand it over? I felt a technocrat would have come in and come up with a precise idea that would have helped than the politician at that point in time. What do you think?
Well, number one, I think that when you say Silva, is Silva 100% new to that ministry? The answer actually is no. He was working with Edmond Dakoro when he was Minister for Petroleum Resources. He moved from there to become governor and become Bayelsa governor. So to an extent, you won't say it's an 100% novice. Of course, when you say the NNPC, Ibe Kashiku is from the author, right? We've also have MDs and people who have been from the oil sector. That's why I said the idea should be, look, you need to fix refinery. What are the inefficiency in the process, right? Yeah. If you have defined timelines, and then you can work on your capacity utilization. So it is not a function of he's a technocrat or not. If you run in Shell and Shell is efficient, you run in Chevron and Chevron is efficient. When you come into the NNPC, it's a different ball game, because the hiring and the firing process is not exactly the same. The procurement process is not exactly the same. And that's why I would always insist, what is the KPI? What are you doing to eliminate the inefficiencies? We are paying so much to satisfy inefficiency within the Nigerian system. So that's why I would always insist, it is not about the background of the individual, it is about the fact that the system needs to be rid of inefficiency.
Let's go to the issue of our CPA. We are the technocrats who came from the banking sector to man the affair for 8 years. And we can see the disaster that is on ground. Yeah. How do you manage our way to ensure that the next person who comes in happens to deliver at the topmost level of it?
Yeah, so I was saying the other time that we should actually balance this, the approach.
Because we are the technocrat, but who fails to deliver?
Okay. You know, in the case of CBN, Emefiele come from the corporate sector. He has been in the system, and is actually a capitalist, so to say. Yeah. So, and the capitalist, what comes at the first thing to a capitalist is actually maximizing profit. You get. So that's why you need a blend of a politician and technocrat to actually get the work done and consider and put the people at the interest of the people in decision making also. Because as a capitalist, you don't care. You just want to make your money and move on. But as a politician, you'll be considering the next election also to say, oh, the next election, if I didn't do well, the masses will still come back. So you need those two different categories of people to actually make things work. And like I mentioned earlier, in the APC today, in PDP, in every other political party that we have in the country, we have technocrats that are working behind the scene that you can actually put forward that will come on board and balance all these concerns that we've actually identified. If somebody that have a political concern, you can imagine the kind of policy Emefiele was introducing prior to the 2023 election. You can see that this person, if he's actually a politically sensitive person with some capacity, he wouldn't have actually considered some of those policies. He would have waited till after the election to say, oh, let's win the election first and see how we can. So you need the blend of those two categories of people. That's my opinion.
Okay, as we wrap up the program right there, because we just have to link up with our Benin consul already. Looking at the example, what Bola Tinubu did while in Lagos and coming to national team, you know, it's a different kettle of fish and time. What we advise be, because you've been talking about the KPI and the importance of having a blend of everything, what we advise be, what are the grades that you felt we should be able to deliver for people to be happy with the government?
Like I said, we need to define what do we want to do. We have crisis with fuel. Do you want to go ahead, spread modular refineries across the nation, build them, let the government not operate, concession them on revocable and revocable contract, so that those modular refineries are self-sustaining. And when you spread them, you are shut, because everything comes in from Lagos right now. The smuggling routes are well defined. If you spread them across the nation, what you are going to have is a different. You're going to build more capacity. The people will be better serviced. There will be more provision of job. And of course, the service sector in that area will improve. Insecurity, of course, you're looking at, we have a wide number of forest reserves. Who manage them at the moment? What's wrong with us having a forest guard service, a coastal guard service, and a boundary force, which will be different from some of the people that you have right now, and then the ungoverned spaces will be reduced. Okay,
thank you so much right there, Mr. Ben-Agle. And last word from you, Okoyemi.
Yeah, it's also very important to, while crafting, an agenda for the incoming government, that the incoming government should look at how they can. The access to information is actually very important for the media, for civil society to work with. Governance is not a one-man show. You need to work with stakeholders to actually achieve, get work done. So when you are not open to transparency and accountability as a government, you tend to have a lot of problem, and people get to misinterpret you, a lot of mistrust within the system and all that. So for the government to actually perform effectively and efficiently, the government should consider how they can actually invest more in transparency and accountability and working with different stakeholders to get things done.
Thank you so much, Okoyemi Rahim and Ben-Agle, for joining us this morning.